Hello everyone. It's been a pretty damn long time, right? Well, once again, I'm able to say welcome to another episode of Graveyard Keeper here on Not Your Professional Walkthrough channel with me, your host Max. As you may know, the previous files got corrupted, which is why I wasn't able to upload recently any footage for this title, and therefore I do apologize, but hopefully I will be able to make up for it. I did make at least some progress in the game so that I don't have to start all over again, because that would be just extremely excruciating for you guys, and I don't want to put you through it. Now, due to the fact that I'm doing the game a bit differently now, and of course the videos have changed a bit since I started uploading on the channel, you might see some difference compared to the first episodes. Now, what I can tell you right now is some of the content which I showed you previously has not yet been unlocked here, like I haven't gone to the dungeons or more. That is especially because I kind of just rushed through them, and I feel like I did not capture the essence of them. Now, the problem here is following, and the problem is that basically the wiki for Graveyard Keeper is great, especially for one thing: alchemy. Now, the thing is that I do not have yet access to it, so that is of course unlocked later on in the game, but hopefully we will be able to get there. However, in this footage, I will at least try to cover some topics which you might find actually useful for the start of your gameplay, as I kind of forgot to mention them in the previous episodes. Also, it will be super hard to kind of time these episodes, especially due to the fact that you save by going into the bed. Therefore, what might happen is that you will see me go through multiple days. Of course, there will be just ton of grinding. Heck, I don't even have the zombie taken out from under the rocks, but I know about him, so the first zombie will be utilized possibly for something. I did get some basic technology, and you might see that I have some blue points. I'm gonna show you at least some of the perks which I have obtained and the reasons why I went with them. So here I am a bit far because I went for the stone cutter, as I required the polished stone in order to get the incense burners inside of the abbey. So far I will call it abbey. It's basically a church, but it's so deprecated, it's in terrible condition. We have only obtained some of the recipes. Obviously, if I want the kebabs, I need to deliver the quality fish, and I'm gonna show you what are the current quests which we should at least try to fulfill in the future episodes. So for Gary, we require silver quality wine bottle, I do believe, so that's gonna take us a while. Now, for the astrologer, we require the diary, which we can get to after we clear out the entire dungeons underneath the church. These are 15 levels of pure punishment, and a couple of events are connected to them. So once you get to a certain level, you are unable to progress further without one event happening with Snake. Okay, so I haven't gone to the dungeon, and I will try to talk a bit about the enemies which spawn there, etc. Inquisitor. Inquisitor is important as if we want to start growing wine, we need to fulfill a certain amount of quests with him to get the section of the map which allows you only to grow both the hops and both the grapes. Grapes are purchased from the merchant, and the hops are actually purchased not from the farmer, but I do believe from the miller himself. So yeah, silver starfish for the kebabs. Shepherd is kind of pointless for us now. Lighthouse keeper, he will be important when you are leveling the fishing. I will talk about fishing later on. Miller, he will be able to sell us some things. Unfortunately, as the mill is broken down right now, we require a special recipe to fix it later on in the game, so that's gonna take us some time. Then there is the woodcutter, Corey. These are basically, and Tress, these are like three brothers working behind the village here. One is chopping down trees, one is carpenter, and one is stonemason. That simple. I never go there. I never purchase items from there. Not important right now. Now, when it comes to, however, merchant, he will require a cure for his situation, okay? I'm not sure if I can call it an actual disease, but the guy is spoiled beyond belief. And his brother is of course Bishop, so yeah, those two are annoying as heck. Anyhow, in order for us to provide the cure, we need to see Clotho, which is the witch that lives actually here in the swamp. As you can see, I haven't been to her yet. This is due to the fact that in order for me to successfully finish her requirements, I will require actually a boiling pot for her, okay? Now the boiling pot can be purchased from the blacksmith in the town, which should be this handsome looking fella here. But in order for you to obtain it, you need to have a level 2 relationship / trading with him. So that takes some time, therefore it's pointless for me to go to Clotho, as I will not be able to do anything as she has lost her memory, and therefore I cannot purchase alchemy ingredients or rare items from her, and it's just sort of pointless, especially because of the trip which I need to do all over the swamp to get to her middle cottage. Basically, it's like in the Stardew Valley when you have those spiral levels in the Skull Cavern or mines. It just takes you forever to get there. The only advantage is this can be skipped. There is a small bridge which you can build, but for this bridge particularly, you require certain ingredients or certain materials to build it. So of course I'm gonna look up what I do require, and then I will go there, because I'm gonna bring the boiling pot for Clotho. I'm gonna drop it off. She's gonna request that and also some weird ingredients, I think. And in order for me to not always go in that weird spiral, because I keep getting lost and I don't want to be just cutting the damn footage constantly, I'm gonna obviously build the bridge, and therefore I can skip that whole freaking part. And of course I will be at certain times purchasing certain ingredients from her. That is at least until the time when I will have a bunch of zombies working alchemy stations on my behalf. Now the zombies are fine, but there are some positive and negative points with them. I have covered some of them in the previous episodes, but that has been like, what, half a year almost ago or something. I've been doing this now for quite a while, and I'm so surprised I've been able to keep this up, so I do appreciate the support, guys. Now, today, I'm gonna interact with the Inquisitor. I have dropped off the 20 firewood, because obviously you can do that fairly easy, and I will drop off the flyers. Now, the flyers were an issue, of course, because you require to unlock certain things. So what do you actually need? Okay, so you need the ability of writing and paper crafting, okay? Also, the scroll shaft is an important blueprint, as here you are able to actually write down or create the flyers. And normally I wouldn't even care about this perk and I would skip it, or this blueprint in particular, but spoiler, later on when we will get the trader license from the Abbey or the collection box outside, which we will need to interact with, we will actually require more flyers in order to support the business, which I will start with the merchant, but on that much later on. So how about I shut up now and let us see what the Inquisitor will say after we drop off some flyers. Okay, so obviously this brings us to another thing which we will need to be able to interact with, and that is the grape farming technology, which we need to unlock, and also after that the wine press and the wine making. These are done in the cellar of your house. So you can obviously utilize, for example, the wine press even for berries to make berry juice, apples to make apple juice. Honestly, they are a great source of energy, and the berries just grow everywhere. Afterwards, you are totally also able to have some apple saplings and grow more berry bushes at your farm, but that is not important. So I'm gonna unlock this technology and also this one. Now, how you can prepare really well for this process basically is that on these specific days, which are, well, let's see, we need merchants, so that is this icon, and we need him because obviously we need to get our hands on the wine seeds or the grape seeds in this case, and we need to go see the miller to actually see if he will now have the option to sell us these seeds. And if you want to know where do you grow them, it's specifically this small section. Before you drop off the letters or the posters for the Inquisitor, this workbench is not here available for you. So obviously what you see here is that you have 4 slots where you will be able to grow your wines or hops, and this is basically 4, 8, 12, 16, and I'm not sure if these are by 4 or by 3. No, they are still by 4. So we have basically 8 times 4, so it's like 32 places where you can plant grapes or hops. Now, the thing with planting these is kind of complicated. The reason why is that if you go see the merchant, you can totally purchase these, and you can purchase these even before this event activates. And here I can hear our Bolshevik delivery system bringing us the goods. Now the thing here is that I actually require tier 2 in order to obtain the hops from the miller, so I will be required to drop off any potential crops over here, and I can only grab the grape seeds specifically on this day when the merchant will arrive. So as you can see, it's right here above the head. Now I intentionally went with this day because I knew I would have at least some sort of content besides me yapping constantly about a ton of things. And well, in the future episodes, hopefully I will be able to cover some topics which will help some of you boost your start in the game. Alrighty, so Gary was afraid a little bit that since we are friends with the Inquisitor, we're gonna sell him off or something stupid like that. And here comes the fun part. I'm gonna show you how unfinished the game can be and how you can boost your early game income with just a couple of technology unlocks. So obviously the autopsy table. Here you will by your actions determine the quality of the corpse. The more red skulls you have, the more sins has the soul collected throughout its lifespan, and the more of them which will remain with the body itself before you bury it, the less positive effect it will have on your cemetery. So obviously the goal would be to get rid of all the 4 red sin skulls, right? Now, the basic thing which you can do here is remove the blood, remove the fat. These both remove 1 sin skull. So if I were to remove blood and fat, and because I actually do have the butcher perk at least, it's less likely I will screw up my actions on the body and the body will end up all torn to pieces. If you manage to screw up the operation, this will also negatively affect the body in reducing the overall amount of skulls which the body can possess, plus it will also gain more sins, so you will not be helping yourself. Now, when it comes to me talking about how the game is technically busted, I'm gonna tell you and show you right now why that is. Now, we all know that your earliest source of income is when you bury that first corpse and you receive the burial certificate. Once you receive the burial certificate, you are able to speak with the bishop, who will inform you that it's a set tradition that in the village, the owner of the Drunken Horse pub it's called, or Dead Horse, something with horse, will purchase the burial certificate from you. This certificate is worth 1 silver, 50 copper coins. Okay? Now, what happens, however, if you get a corpse like this and you still do not have access to, let's say, one of the perks which shows you specifically which body part removes the sins and which body part, for example, like bone itself, doesn't have any effect on the body if removed. If I remove the bone, here you will see that as if I don't screw this operation, the body has not changed its composition. However, that applies to bone most specifically. If you work with skin, if you work with intestine, heart, flesh, skull, brain, your body will be affected. So, I'm gonna show you how you can get out of each body not 1 burial certificate, but 2. In order for you to actually be able to do this, you, however, require certain technology. Okay? So in the start, we all know that we will receive only like 3 fate points from the sermon. Sermon happens on every day with the sunny icon, which will basically happen pretty damn soon. And basically, the better the graveyard and the church is, the more points you get. This is why I usually go really heavy into the writing right from the get-go if I start to receive blue points, because this will help me get some things like better prayers, or just overall have effect like the cardinal, where I do, however, require more points in the church in order to be successful with my sermon, but I'm gonna still receive more money. So this is cool because in the start you get like 1 copper from someone who shows up at the church. Eventually, you're gonna be getting 50 copper, heck, maybe even silver really late in the game, okay? But what you actually need to invest in order to get your 2 burial certificates out of one body is the cremation. Believe it or not, if you receive a body which has been totally butchered by you because of lack of skill, experience, and just overall lack of appreciation for the human body, if I may say so, because honestly, if it's an dead relative of some jackass who you hate from your real life, you're not gonna take that much of a good care to do a proper job, and you would most likely like to turn him into something which looks like a Joker. So, you know, a really damn wide smile with a razor blade. But here's the kicker. The developer has intended to do a certain thing. If you bury a corpse, you have it on your graveyard. Then you need to put in the gravestone and the grave fence. This will increase the points on the graveyard. If you burn the body, you're gonna get 2 types of powders and the burial certificate. However, if you burn the body, you cannot do anything else with it. So I'm gonna show you how to get 2 burial certificates out of one body, just so you believe me. I tested this out, it still works, it's gonna help you tremendously in the start of the game. So what do we have here basically is 2 sins, okay? We have 5 white skulls, the decomposition is 97, so we are perfectly fine with this body, okay? I unfortunately do not possess the alchemy skills yet, so I cannot use one of the acids or dyes or one of the other liquids which will help reduce the sins on the body itself, so that I would have 7 white skulls. Therefore, I have removed all the organs which I know safely reduce the sins. Now we will grab the body and we will carry it to the graveyard. Okay? So here we have a free spot. Now what you however need to realize is, if you are opting for this option, make sure that it will not negatively affect your graveyard, because in order for you to get further along in the church upgrades, you will need to fulfill specific requests for the priest, or basically for, well, technically we can consider the bishop your boss. So the thing is, if you leave an open grave, and I'm gonna show you, this gives you -2 points to your overall quality. If you bury the body, because it has 2 sins, it's going down, compared to a body without sins, which will have 0 effect. So if I will start adding gravestone and grave fence, you're gonna get only positive points from this, okay? Now, what you need also is the exhumation. So you need to go here and get 1 exhumation permission. Here's the kicker. For the burial certificate, you will receive 150. Exhumation costs you 175, therefore it's more expensive. This is why you might consider utilizing the exploit. So I'm gonna purchase one, even though I should have one here somewhere in the bin. And as you can see, I have been quite busy taking apart certain bodies. And I actually have 4 of them now, so yeah, whatever. I'm gonna come here and I will actually exhume the body. So now I have it, and the quality of the graveyard is only at 41. That is because we have an open grave. Open grave will negatively affect your graveyard. And here are basically the only place where you can utilize the wood billets to craft place for burning corpses. You require 8 billets to burn down 1 corpse. So it's kind of an expensive process, energy and time wise. So once you start burning down your fellow villager, it's gonna take a few minutes to get done. And as I'm talking, I'm realizing I will actually miss the astronomer, and I wanted to purchase some pen and ink, but it's gonna be fine. We should have some more in stock. So here you see, I have just received the second burial certificate. Okay?
What? What the fuck?
So obviously, this is a feature which the developer did not fix. What should happen is that after you have buried the corpse, if you burn it, you should no longer be able to obtain your second burial certificate, right? I have done this with 2 corpses actually. And when you start your graveyard adventure, what you need to know is that there are certain bodies which were already buried in the graveyard, okay? You will know that because of one thing. The both gravestone and grave fence are in horrible condition, so you will need to get some repair kits to fix them, but it will still not help. The fun thing here is, if you take a body which has been in the ground when you started this adventure, a fun thing will happen. I'm not sure if I already picked up this corpse or this corpse, but let's take a look. Okay, so these are obviously the corpses which I have put in after I started playing. I'm not really sure if this is body which I put down myself or not. The reason why I want to talk about this is that you know how you can get 2 burial certificates for a new corpse. Guess what? If there's like 8 dead bodies in the ground already, what you can do is following thing after you unlock your first technology, which usually starts with the blood and fat extraction. The skin, bone, and skull will take you more points to unlock, and I will most likely show you from the wiki page how many it takes. Now, here's the thing. If you take a body from the cemetery, you need to remove both the gravestone and the grave fence in order for you to use the exhumation. Now, I'm not sure if this corpse has been already played with by me. If you pick up one of the original corpses on the graveyard, you bring it to your autopsy table. Okay, so this one hasn't been touched by us. Cool stuff? Cool stuff. So, what I can actually do here is following. I can use something like I do believe maybe the brain extraction will help me dramatically affect the body. Okay, so now I kind of screwed up, but here's the thing. I'm gonna extract the blood. I'm gonna extract the fat. Okay? This is one of the original corpses which was at the cemetery. so I received nothing for it. However, if you take this corpse and you put it back into its place, burial certificate. If you exhume the body, and you take it to your crematorium section, which is this lovely place over here, you burn it, and there goes your second burial certificate. So obviously in the start of the game, don't even touch the original corpses in the ground. My advice is to start working with the bodies which Donkey will be bringing to you. Okay, you see? Original corpse from the burial certificate. We have touched 2 corpses only, and I have received 4 burial certificates. 4 times 150 should equal to 6 silvers from the tavern. For 6 silvers, you can purchase ridiculous amount of items, from crop seeds to God knows what else, okay? 6 silvers is a tremendous investment in the start of your adventure. Now, this episode might be a bit longer and maybe a bit boring because I keep talking constantly, but that is because, well, I kind of missed the hell out of this game, to be honest. And don't worry, the brains are here temporarily. I will be utilizing them later on for alchemy. Now, what I will do is grab the fat and go drop it off in the cellar of the church. Because you utilize the fat to make candles. You of course have to mix in the beeswax and other fun stuff, okay? So, fat, beeswax, hemp rope. Now don't worry, I did not get this much beeswax by interacting with the wild beehives. There is actually a merchant in the town who specifically deals with honey, wax, and bees. There is an area where you can build a bunch of bee houses, and therefore you will be able to gather more honey, wax, and bees from one location specifically, rather than walking all over the map going through the same beeswaxes or the bee hives. And I can tell you right now, most of them are located in the forest near the river. There are like 4 or 3 at least. Otherwise, you have to be walking all over the freaking map to find something useful. And trust me, it sucks. Here actually, where you can build the beehives, there are 2 wild beehives, so that's at least a bonus for you. So this is actually the highest concentration of all the bees and honey which you can gather in one place. Honey, great thing because you can be using it for cooking and baking. I especially love to make muffins. Muffins are much better than bread. So yeah, because bread will give you 15 energy. Muffin on the other hand is like 30. Okay, so we're gonna make some candles. For the candles, I'm gonna get some blue points. Usually things which you do underneath the church will earn you some lovely amount of points. The problem here is I do have the incense burners, but I do not have the freshener. Freshener, I need an alchemy to do this, okay? The problem there is I do not have the tech where is it? Yeah, I do not have the tech to deal with alchemy. So usually you need to start doing something with the zombies, etc, etc, progress further in the story, and I think also interacting with Clotho will help you get your alchemy started. Okay? So today is important day, as obviously today Bishop will arrive and we can do the sermon. Now here on the desk I can start making some prayers. Once you have the level 2 merchant interaction with the bishop, you are actually able to purchase prayers from him, because right now only thing which I can purchase from him are the basic candles. And when I started the Cannon Brothers, or what are they called? Technology, we want the church, candelabra. Okay, my apologies. When I started doing these, of course, I did not do the most idiotic thing, which was walking around picking every beehive hoping to get a beeswax or two. Plus, I kind of required the hemp rope, and in order for me to get the hemp, I need to interact with another local village idiot. Where the heck is he in this list? Which is this guy, Dig. So that's another game which has a crazy hobo. And this one particularly can sell you oil, which is squeezed out of the hemp. Hemp, like the plant, which is then turned into the hemp rope, and hemp seeds. So fun stuff. Now, I have to drop off actually a bunch of honey for him in order to get further in the story. And the funniest thing is that if you do this, this idiot will give you recipe for cake. Don't ask me how, he just has it. I'm happy for it. So yeah, okay, so I was wrong. Muffin is for 24. I do apologize. The difference between muffin and croissant, for example, is that for croissant you require a cake batter slash cake dough, and you therefore do not need just flour. You also need milk and butter, okay? So these are more expensive, as you need to go to 2 merchants in the town to pick up both the butter, both the milk, and both the eggs. The fun thing here is, unfortunately, you are unable to have your own cattle, which would produce this for you, as obviously zombies don't eat anything here, so you don't have to be afraid that one day you're gonna wake up and you're gonna find your cows just torn to bits. So, yeah. Okay, well, I better do the freaking sermon, right? So far we are still utilizing the casual prayer. It's perfectly fine, however, as I am able to boost the overall points inside of the church with the use of a fairly simple thing, and that's the candles. So let's get our sermon on. And also, in the first part of your church, which is this basic state before you upgrade it further, you are unable to mount the wall candelabras, okay? You can only utilize these two, and I like to put them over here. So right now the quality is 23. If I utilize the candles, it's now 25. And we're gonna do the sermon. I still remember May the force be with you, which is the opening statement which you say the first time you stand behind the podium and you try to interact with the villagers. And here's the main difference. We go from 3 all the way up to 7, and I'm not even utilizing the incense burners because I need the alchemy, okay? So I might actually go to see at least Clotho and be forced to basically get the friendship or the merchant skill increased by interacting with the blacksmith. Now, as you may know, there is a special way to obtain blue points. You cannot do this by many tasks. Obviously, you can craft the more advanced gravestones, grave fences, but guess what? You still need blue points to get these. So in the start of the game, you will be faced with, for example, needed to spend 5 fate points with Snake to start interacting with him. You will also require 5 fate points to start interacting with Miss Charm. That's 10 freaking fate points. That can be 4 sermons, so that means 4 whole weeks, which only have 6 days in game. My advice is to screw that and work on the tech. Trust me, getting your hands on things like cremation and some of the basic tech which will help you craft more advanced materials will dramatically speed up your game and get you into more efficient sort of gameplay. So yeah, lots of fun stuff to consider. But if I am to interact with, let's say, Miss Charm or Snake, and I'm picking up 7 fate points instead of freaking 2 or 3, I'd rather go with those 7, and I'd rather stay in the lower tier of the game for now, prep everything for future upgrades, tasks, etc, 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 because if you check over here, I can get the building permission for 20 coppers, royal stamp for 50, which is for meat, rightful citizen, I can get this, rightful trade license. I need 50 silver to bring this to the merchant, okay? So obviously this is one of his requirements. It's gonna take me forever to get this done, for at least now. The fun thing about, for example, the winemaking is that wine is a great source of HP and energy potion. So you can actually craft a specific potion for health and specific potion for energy and the potion to speed up your walking, etc, etc. But as an ingredient and something easier to come by, it's awesome. Also, what you need to know is the following information. If you take Merchant, you will be able to sell him your gold star quality wine. If you take your innkeeper, whose name is Radric, you will be able to sell the basic quality wine, the basic quality beer, and the silver star quality wine as well, I do think. Or if not, you can sell it to the merchant. So you have either the use of health or energy here compared to, for example, Stardew Valley, where if you drink wine you get the tipsy effect and you're all slowed down and all the other funky stuff. This doesn't happen here. Your liver is made out of titanium and you can go through the alcohol like crazy. Seriously, sometimes I've been wondering if I would just use a simple match next to the Graveyard Keeper in the dungeons if the whole freaking place would go into flames. Unfortunately, it did not go, and therefore we are here stuck with me talking about the game. So what did we basically cover? We talked with the Inquisitor and we covered some topics. Cool stuff, cool stuff. We talked about how I feel the game is unfinished and would still require some polishing from the developer. Unfortunately, the developer has moved on from the title, and I highly doubt they will release any more updates for this, as they actually released last year or this year some other game which I did not get at all, kind of. It's a really weird simulator for some sort of dungeon crawling stuff. I might leave a link for Steam in it, I'm not sure right now. So the fun thing during the editing which happened is that when I wanted to go check on the developer, which is the Lazy Bear Games, for the other title which they released, what I found out is that a new DLC will be released for Graveyard Keeper. This will be the Stranger Sins. The issue with this is, by the time the DLC releases, I'm not sure how much it will affect the overall day-to-day gameplay. If they will address, for example, something like, I don't know, the 2 burial certificates for 1 corpse, or if they even will address it. I know they will be adding some story-based stuff, and it will be definitely fun. The issue is that, for example, when I first played the Graveyard Keeper and the zombie update came out, by the time it has been released, I have been so far in the save that basically me getting my hands on the zombies, sure, it was nice, but I was already way too far ahead. So I had to start over. And the thought of me starting over is kind of making me a bit nervous. So therefore I cannot guarantee how many episodes for Graveyard Keeper will be uploaded. I will provide you some content, obviously. And right now I'm kind of wondering what in the world will I do, because if you have a game that has been released in the August of 2018 and you release a DLC for story on the 29th of October 2019, obviously my advantage while covering the game is that I will be able to maybe spend more time releasing Stardew Valley, Darkest Dungeon, and once the DLC kicks in, I will add it onto the file, and we will have more content to cover. I will be experiencing new stuff, you guys will see new stuff. It can be super awesome. But the thing is, if you would, for example, go to one of the other channels which has covered Graveyard Keeper all the way to the freaking end of the story, well, how then you add in this DLC? You would have to start all over again. So by the time you actually get to the DLC content, it can change the game dramatically for you, because if I do, like, let's say, few updates on or upgrades on the church, progress with the story, do a little thing over here, over there, it will be perfectly fine. But if they are planning on adding something like stories for the carpenter and the other two brothers behind the village, or just giving them more content and stuff to do. This is dramatically affecting the information which has been already provided, and therefore, of course, I am not afraid of redoing the information, but I would really, really hate to see that the update would state, for example, the new DLC is not compatible with your old save files or something. Because I can tell you right now, when the zombies came out, one of the funniest examples of this is that if you go into the big forest, when you want to get to the iron mine, coal deposit, and the marble deposit, there is right now this massive tree where the zombies can be harvesting logs from. Originally, this was actually not the case. There were berry bushes in that same spot. So when the zombie update kicked in, and I had the old save where I implemented zombies, the berry bushes were screwing around with the giant tree, and when I went in there to, for example, put in a zombie or something, instead of placing down the zombie, I was trying to harvest the berries. So yeah, it's kind of this is gonna dramatically change the game, but I will still try to provide you more content, and hopefully it will not affect the game. So I am sorry for this sort of breaking of the fourth wall situation, but these are kind of big news, and I kind of don't appreciate there being this thing happening. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love that we will get more content for the game, but here's the issue. I don't know how it will affect the game. So yeah, I'm gonna return to the video, and you guys will be able to enjoy more of me talking about random subjects for God knows how much longer. But yeah, this will be interesting to deal with, and hopefully you will all join me for the adventure. Thanks for the attention. But that's gonna take some time, and I'm gonna need some feedback from you guys in order for that to happen. So, I don't know, leave a comment, maybe like the video if you liked it. Check out the freaking channel, okay? I have a ton of videos there for Graveyard Keeper, Darkest Dungeon, Stardew Valley, and who knows, maybe after I will finish at least partially one of these games, I will be able to add something new just to spice things up. I do realize that all of these games are not the newest titles out on the marketplace. It's much easier for you to find right now, for example, footage for Borderlands 3, one of the Far Cry's, or God knows what else has been released. Well, not Doom Eternal, that freaking game has been postponed, but yeah, whatever. So basically, yeah, it's gonna be a freaking challenge, but I'm gonna be working my butt off to be able to provide you with the content that you deserve. I do not care that the games are older. They are a great value for the money which you will invest into the games, and the return from the games will come back in the time which you can spend with them. I might do reviews for the titles which I will cover on the channel. However, I'm not gonna do it before I release at least one freaking episode for the game itself. That would be kind of idiotic of me, and obviously I'm not Total Biscuit, despite the fact that I love the guy and God, I miss him. It was such a loss for the community. But there are a ton of channels that are doing the reviews for the games. I'm not talking, for example, about something like IGN. You already expect the titans of the industry to be involved in this, but they have multiple departments and teams with much better gear, people who studied video editing and other stuff, so they have much more experience. They have the Adobe Studio licenses, and I'm still dipping my toes in the video editing and trying to improve the overall skill. So basically, yeah, it's gonna take some time, but I'm gonna be working on basically being able to provide you with better content. Obviously, if I'm gonna be able to find more exploits for you or something which will improve the start of your game, because obviously the thing with the burial certificate is that you cannot execute this immediately. You require crematorium, and you require certain interaction with the bishop before you can get your hands on the exhumation notes. Okay? One of the first ones which you actually get are not even from the collection bin over here. They are actually given to you by Yorick, the ghost which will manifest in your living room out of the blue. So yeah, fun stuff. But once you get your crematorium up and running, and it's also a freaking shame that you have a crematorium and that's basically it. Any other upgrade is just to, let's say, have columbarium of marble. Okay? So fun thing is actually for you to have the ceramic urns, you need to burn some bodies to have ash, and that ash is then used in your kitchen inside of your home to make these urns, and you need like 12 of them to make just the basic columbarium, and I usually like at least 2 of them on my graveyard. What I tend to do is usually put like one here, one here. Later on in the game there will be statue of the bishop, but that's like way far in the future, so I'm not even gonna talk about that. So basically, ton of content, ton of stuff to be talked about, even more stuff to be covered on the channel about the game. And I'm gonna try to keep producing these episodes with at least some sort of added features or bonus. Obviously, since I haven't uploaded an episode for the Graveyard Keeper in a couple of months, I took some special time and care to cover some of these subjects, as I definitely want to make sure there is some understanding that I will try to keep producing videos for the game itself. I know there were some technical difficulties, but hopefully I will be able to keep posting footage for this game alongside the other titles on my channel, and therefore there will be some sort of diversity amongst the videos uploaded. So right now I might be uploading videos more for Stardew Valley or for Darkest Dungeon. It will highly depend from what I will be able to do and how the time restriction on my end will be affected by my new job at work, which is honestly kicking my ass right now, and I keep coming home super tired. While in the previous department where I worked, which is the funniest thing because it was actually finance, I wasn't coming home tired. Maybe it's because I have a degree in business, I don't know. But anyhow, what I was able to do is come home from work, sit down, edit one video, and when I hit the rendering button, I went off to the gym. by the time I returned, video footage has been rendered even on the 4-core laptop which I'm using. So yes, it's Intel 5, but I was working with a budget. Obviously, I purchased an apartment and my old system cannot do this anymore because, well, it's too freaking old. And I tried it and unfortunately it did not work despite it being a tower with Intel 7 inside of it. But 4th generation of Intel is right now, well, worse than Intel 5 of the 8th generation, right? Coffee Lake is much more better than the 4th generation of Intel. I don't even know what's the name of that lake anymore. The refreshed Coffee Lake, which is the 9th generation of Intel, does sound tempting. And I'm looking into possible builds for that system. Honestly, not sure if I would go with either the Ryzen systems or the Intel systems. Heck, I've been even considering getting like a large tower where I would be able to build a system which would consist of 2 motherboards. So I would have, for example, Ryzen 7 3700X on a X570 motherboard, and then I would have some mini 80X motherboard with, let's say, the Intel 7900K processor inside of it, where I would be able to, for example, install one of the Elgato capture cards, while on the motherboard with the Ryzen system would be the new graphics cards, and therefore I would have much more RAM to work with. And while one system would be, for example, capturing the footage and playing the game, the other footage might do streaming or something. I might try that. Of course, I don't have to do that if I would go, for example, with a Ryzen system, since these tend to work pretty damn well for both game capture and the streaming. But when it comes to rendering videos, Intel still keeps kicking ass. Even in the game department, for gaming, Intel is still better, and unfortunately it's pricier, but that's the thing. If you know at least something about computers, the number of cores in, let's say, the Ryzen 9 3900X is 12, and you have 24 streams, compared to the Intel 9 9900K, which has what, like 8 cores and 16 streams or 12 streams. Yeah, it's not the same, but despite this, the Intel 9 keeps winning in certain categories. And because, well, don't get me wrong, playing the game is a lot of fun for me, but making the video more efficiently and being able to put up a content onto the internet or onto the channel itself, not onto the internet. I don't want to just upload it onto, like, I don't know, Pirates Bay or somewhere and let people maybe download it and hope it's not a freaking virus like LimeWire used to be back in the day. But I kind of digress. So I have some plans, but because there are real life things which I have to priority consider, it's gonna take some time to get some better quality. Obviously, I would love to utilize the Black Friday or something, get myself a proper microphone so I don't have to do this with a freaking gaming headset. Don't get me wrong, I have the Corsair HS50. I'm so freaking happy with it. I had this previously. I did not believe how great this set is. There is even a Bluetooth version of this, but it's like twice as expensive. And because you are utilizing the microphone through the Bluetooth and not through the cable, the quality can be distorted, delayed, there can be some complications, and for more money I'm not gonna sacrifice the quality. Obviously the sound of my voice is irritating to some people as it is. It can be much worse, however, but I'm gonna see how this will turn out. So yeah, this will be one long ass episode, mostly about me talking, and I do realize I could have just, I don't know, done something useful, but yeah. So upgrading church, let's talk about this. For example, when I first played the game, I did not know any better. You guys have me here, so you will know better. And the thing to know is important, because if you decide to go with the upgrade for the church, good for you. But it's not that simple. Once you put in the upgrade, the bishop will have some added recommendation or added task for you. And here's the kicker. If you do not fulfill those tasks until the next Sunday or when the bishop arrives, this bastard will prevent you from doing your sermons. Sermons are the only way for you to get the faith points. Why are the faith points important? They are important due to one highly specific thing. Here you see I did not do the research, okay? This is for the blue points, okay? So what you can do is study each and every body part to get your first blue points. Then what you can actually do is take any of the wooden grave fences and wooden markers or wooden crosses and study these in your study table too. Same goes for stone, upgraded stone, and then your marbles, okay? The same thing you can actually do with your tools. Grinding through tasks and getting yourselves red points is pain in the ass. I can tell you that right now. For example, one of the tech which I required to get, like the circular saw. Here you see that, for example, just the assembly stand will require 200 red points. It only needs 20 blue points, so if you get like 50 blue points for researching skin, skull, intestine, brain or something, you are stacking up blue points, but you are missing the red points. So what you can actually do is a tip which I can provide to you. One of the first techs which you should work towards is in the smithing, and that's to get the primitive wooden anvil, then get your regular anvil and get yourselves pickaxe, shovel, and axe of level 1. Now here's the fun part. If you have your original rusty tools, for the love of God, do not use the grinding stone to fix them. Try to get this tech as soon as possible. You don't require blue points for it. So just chopping trees, breaking rocks, building some basic stuff will do the trick for you. When you get your hands on the first upgraded tools, if you will have your first fate points and you are missing the red points, do not sell the original tools to the blacksmith yet. Yes, you can do that. And yes, you're gonna get some decent amount of coin for it. It's early in the game, very welcome thing. So what you can do, because the original tools do not require that many fate points for the research, is to take the tool and basically go to your study table and do the research. Now, you need to know one important thing, and that is that you do not only need fate points, you also need science points, and science points are gathered by making paper. So obviously, paper crafting is a must. So my advice, therefore, is following. If you get your hands on first 3 fate points, study one of the body parts. So obviously, when you start the game, the first body part which you can extract automatically is the flesh. Go with that. Sure, it negatively affects the overall quality of the body, but till you get your hands on blood and fat, it's gonna take time. So let's study flesh. When you will be able to do it, and you will be able to break apart certain things to get your hands on first notes or first pigskin paper, so either the skin of the corpse, or you can actually kill bats which spawn behind your house up in the small little swamp. You need 5 bat wings which are dropped from every corpse, not 5 of them, but every bat after you kill it will drop these wings. You get these ingredients. You get yourself the workbench, you start making the paper. You make the paper. You come to the study table. Study table automatically pre-installed for you. You can make actually 2 of them. If you hate the position of it, you can move it, you can destroy it and put another one down, but they do require some specific ingredients, so I advise you not to do that. So here's the fun thing. I can take rusty hammer, rusty shovel, rusty pickaxe, rusty axe, study those for red points. You can study each object only once, which is why I'm actually advising you to start with the rusty tools. Sure, you're not gonna get as many red points as you would get with, for example, shovel level 2, which is actually a steel one. So this is like the 3rd generation of tools which you can get, and look, I don't even have enough fate points for that. So what I'm gonna do is study the rusty hammer. And look at that. We go from 7 to 17. Sure, this is not perfect, but I can do this with the axe, pickaxe, and shovel level 1. I'm gonna get more red points. Eventually, I'm gonna be able to make iron hammer, get myself the tools which are crafted by the use of steel ingots, and I'm going to be able to study those. Obviously, if I would have the ingots and, for example, any of the material which is from iron, which I like to keep here because obviously I tend to craft stuff, I get myself the red points. So here I can either study the wooden cross or finish off studying the skin. And I have finished it, and we have just gone to 38. Here the fun thing is, I'm gonna study the wooden cross, 38 to 58. And these are just the basic ones. Okay, so that's, if we would go with 20 for each of these, which are 4, that's 80 blue points. Okay, you're gonna have to make a ton of stone grade fences or candles in order to get that amount of blue points. So study table is the best way for you to get your hands on some points. Green points will never be an issue for you, because if you're farming, if you're doing anything anywhere, you're usually gonna get at least one freaking green point out of it, so go nuts. And I am kind of getting lightheaded from talking more on this footage than I did throughout the entire week at work. So I'm gonna just shut up now and finally head to bed. So this is the place where the wine production will take its place. As you can see, we will require a ton of material. Flitch, nails, simple iron parts, complex iron parts, and some stone. Nothing that is super hard to get, but you see also that I did not study any of these ingredients, so I still have a bunch of fate points, and I can take a crack at these without any issue, because obviously after I make more of food, you see right over here that I have steel ingots, iron ingots, simple iron parts, nails, coal, iron ore, metal scrap which cannot be studied. I have some silver, some gold, river sand, clay, yada yada yada. Okay, so studying is super easy. Also, if I want to get more points, I'm just gonna smelt the heck out of this place, and therefore I will be able to obtain more points and increase my chances on getting more tech. So this episode was more informative to let you know that I will resume the content for the game, and hopefully someone will watch this long ass video, because right now I'm just terrified about the fact that this is gonna take forever to be uploaded on to YouTube itself. And I know I should separate this into multiple videos, but I'm just so happy to be back at it. So I'm gonna try to work my ass off and get some content out for you guys, okay? So yeah, hopefully someone has stayed here till the end of the video, and yeah, I just hope my voice did not have the ring effect on you, and that is, if you watch this video till the end, not someone will call you and you will die in 7 days, but you will die in the middle of the footage because you are just irritated by the sound of my voice. But anyhow, like I said, check out the channel, leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what other mechanics you have found out about the game which kind of ruin it for you, or something which can help the community to get a head start in the game. So from me and the channel, I wish you all the best, and hopefully I will see you on the next upload, guys. Till then, best of luck, have fun, bye bye.